Hello. So I'm going to be creating a scrapbook overlay. So the first thing I did is I uploaded this Christmas tree car, and this is from Printable Cuttable Creatables. And welcome, this we have a blog hop today, so I'll have a link to my blog and also any other information you'll need for that. But I'm showcasing this Christmas tree car, and I thought I would do a Christmas scrapbooking overlay. So I've done these before in Cricut Design Space. Mine are pretty simple, but I kind of wanted to film it because I thought you could at least see how it's done. And if you're interested in doing something like this, you have the basics. So what I do is I just go over to Shapes, and everybody has this, and I click on the square. Now, for the most part, or at least in my case, I'm doing a 12 by 12 layout. So I'm going to adjust the size up here, make it a 12. And when I tab over, as long as the image is locked, it adjusts to what it's supposed to be. Since this is a square, when I tab over, it changes it to 12. So this is 12 by 12. Now, just as I'm mentioning this, I realize with the mats, you can't cut up to 12 inches. So the biggest you can do it is 11.5 squared. So there, I just made that adjustment. Perfect. So now what I do is I need to create the openings that you're going to be putting in pictures or other embellishments, your journaling spot, whatever it is you're going to be doing. So in order to do that, basically the same thing. I go over to Shapes, and I'm grabbing a square, and I'm going to make this into a 6 by 6 square. And guess it would help if I didn't do 0. There, 6 by 6. And I'm going to change the color just so that you can see it. You don't need to change it if you're working on this. So now I'm going to move it over here to my main layout, which again is the 11.5 by 11.5. And I'm putting it where I believe I'm going to want it. Now this may change, so I'm not saving anything yet, but because I mean, obviously I can go back to Shapes and do the exact same thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And this one, I'm going to make it 4 by 6. So I'm going to unlock it, and you can see that up there, the little padlock. And now the width is still 6, but the height is 4. And because it's unlocked, it won't adjust when you hit tab. So it's the exact size you want it to be. So now I'm going to lock that. And then I'm going to put that over here. And I'm just letting you know, I don't know exactly what pictures I'm using. I do not necessarily a December daily album, but I do take a picture, at least one picture a day in December, and I do December daily layouts, which means they're photo heavy, which I absolutely love. And it also encourages me to take more photos. So I'm going to take the same rectangle now, and now I'm going to adjust it. Now I'm going to do something really long here. So again, I'm going to unlock it, which you can see the padlock up here, and then now I'm going to change the width to 4, and then I'm going to change the height to, let's say, 10. See how that looks. I'm going to lock it because I don't want it to change, or at least not yet. And it looks like I probably want it to be a little bit longer, so I'm going to say unlock it and put 10.5. Now I'm going to show you something. The reason why you unlock it, let's say I didn't unlock it. Okay, let me put that back at 10. And let's say I kept it locked, but now I want it to be 10.5. When I hit tab, you see how it adjusts. Now it's 4.2. I don't want it to be 4.2. So I'm going to unlock. I'm going to change this to 4, and it's now 10.5 by 4, which I think it equals up to that. Yeah, looks pretty good if I'm eyeballing. Now what I want to do is, so these squares are just basically placed on top of the larger square. I could do two things. One, I can slice each of these squares and rectangles out of the larger base, and you have to do those individually because when you slice, you can only slice one object from one object. So now what I want to do is I'm going to click on the base which is the gray one. And you can see over here how it's lit up, so you know you've got it. And then I'm going to click on one of these other triangles. So to do that, I hit the shift button on your keyboard and then just click on one of those. So you see here that I have 2 items. And then I'm going to hit slice. And I'm not sure why those other ones go behind, but that's just a little quirk. So I'm going to take out and remove those sliced items. And then I'm going to click on this, hit the arrange button, send it back. And then I'm kind of just going to do the same thing. Now, just so you know, if I wasn't going to be doing other things to this, you could also, when the squares were still, or the squares and rectangles were still in here, you can select all of the images and hit attach. And so when it goes into the make screen, it'll automatically cut out. But because I'm going to be adding some fun stuff, I wasn't sure how that was going to work. So I just thought, this is what I know, so this is how I'm doing it. So with this card, now I'm going to add it onto what we're calling the overlay. So what I'm going to do is I selected the entire image and I'm duplicating it. And now I'm going to hit the combine button over there in the lower right, and I'm going to unite it, which was like the old weld. Now you notice how they have these little marks here and there. For some reason, you've got to hit combine again and then merge the layers. And now I'm able to contour. I'm going to hide all contours, which means all those little notches. And now it's a solid image. Now the reason why I want a solid image is I'll show you in just a minute, but now I'm going to combine these two together. It doesn't really matter what's in front because I'm just using it for the shape. I'm going to group it because I want them to be the same size when I end up adjusting it. And oh, it actually ends up being a really good size. So now I hope you can see that the image is just a little bit over the left and right, and also on the bottom, which means that the next step, which I'm going to do now, so now I'm going to ungroup it. I don't have to adjust the size. Oops. Let me move this one out of the way. Put this one back, sorry. And yep, again, you see how everything's kind of touching. Now I'm going to take both of those images and now I'm going to combine those, unite it. And you see how it's within that overlay. Now the reason why I duplicated it, because when I cut this out, this is going to be one piece, and I still want all the layers of this piece so that when I create the layout, I still get this fun, colorful, detailed image on top of there. Now, if that's not something you want, like you just like that shadowed figure, probably depending on what you're doing, like especially like letters or things like that, you may not need it. But in this case, I do. Now, just because I want a visual, I'm going to put this over here. And now just for the sake of having a visual, I do want to see what it looks like. So now I have this solid, or this whole empty area, this whole empty area, this whole empty area, which I can use for photos, for more ephemera, or journaling, you know, whatever it is I want to do, right? So right now, because I have not printed my Christmas pictures yet, so I don't know the sizes. Now what I want to do is add a title or some kind of word. Like I said, I don't really do December daily, but maybe just December will work. So I can do one or two things. One, I can go to images, and this is just searching in Design Space and look up December. I like doing this. I like doing this because you get kind of different fonts and different fills on things. You know what? I really kind of like that one. So right now I'm going to add that. I don't know if I'm going to use it yet because I want to look. Oh, this one's kind of fun too. Let me see. I'll keep on going. Do I want something just kind of quirky, or do I want something? I definitely do not want script. I think that's just too much. Oh, this one might be kind of cute. Okay, let me try that. Okay, so I'm done with that. So now you just hit images again. Now, when I mentioned you can do that, now if you have a custom word, you just use text and type out something. or if you have a specific font or something that you wanted to use, that would be something you could definitely do. So look at with here, I could put like a banner going across, and you see how, again, they have to overlap both sides. That actually looks kind of cool. And then, or, let me move this over just for a minute. I could do something like this. Again, you see how everything kind of overlaps? It barely does there, but as long as it overlaps, that might be kind of cool. Let me see. You know what? I actually really like that. So let's get rid of this one. And I'm going to move this because that's not going to be welded together. And I'm going to, just because I'm not sure, I'm going to make a copy of this. And the reason why is kind of the same idea. Now, I may weld this on and then decide to do that in a different color. So let's do that. Combine it, unite. Again, let's see. Like I mentioned, I could definitely cut that out in a different color or like pattern paper or something. Ooh, that might be really pretty. But I'd like to weld it on, because that may be a question you're asking. Well, why bother to weld it if I'm going to do it anyways? Well, it definitely gives a base to put those letters on, or this word, or whatever it is that you're doing. So it's not just kind of floating there. It gives it some more stability. But you definitely, I guess when you think about it, you don't really have to. But I guess that's why we like overlays, right? Everything's kind of set up for us. So again, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep it on, because I think I am going to use pattern paper for that. I've got a ton of Christmas paper and I always need to use it. So now I have this open space still, because you could tell by the grid lines that it's still open. So again, when I put this layout together, I could even put a solid different color, or maybe another pattern paper behind it. This is 6x6, so I could either do, one big photo or a bunch of little ones. More than likely I'll have a bunch of little ones, because like I mentioned, when I do my daily December pictures, there's a lot. And then there's this whole thing. Now, here's another thing I want to try to do. So I'm going to go back to shapes. I'm going to grab a square again. And I'm just kind of messing around at this point. So I'm going to unlock it. I want the width to be 4.5. And the height, I don't know, 0.5. That's about right. I'm going to lock it just because. And the reason why I'm saying, is that about right? Okay, so what I'm thinking I might want to do is something like this. That might need to be a little bit longer, so let me just do 4.75. Again, I'm going to move these, and you don't necessarily have to. You just have to make sure they're not selected. Click on everything, hit combine again, and then now look at it. That's basically what it's going to look like. And I hope this video helped you, and you can get as complicated or as easy as you want when making an overlay, but I hope this shows you how simple it is to do, and you can really tailor it to what you want. And I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. So I hit make, and I'm just putting together the Christmas tree car piece by piece, and you can see this has tons of layers, which makes it so cute. Again, I got this cuttable, sorry, from Printable Cuttable Creatables, and I'll have a link below in the information box with to their store. If you use the code the number 3, the word sons, SONS, 15, you'll get 15% off your order, and I'll have that information also on the in the information box. Now, I mentioned, or I may or may not have mentioned, I'm participating in a blog hop, so I will have a link to my blog and also all the other design team members who are participating in the blog. I'm not going to list them here, but I will list it on my blog. So please go to my blog if you're interested in reading those or following that blog hop, which I hope you are. So here it is, all pretty much done. I did decide to add the word daily, and so I added that with using the Cricut. I outlined the word December, and I adhered it to the card or the layout base, except for the sides of those top openings, because I'll add my photos later. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.